Now that you've seen this little journal in the flip through, I thought I'd tell you a few things about how I made it. This was a journal idea that Rhonda of Joy Junk Tink did, and I will link her tutorial in the description box below. And she was making hers. Her mother had been ill and had a lot of prescriptions and got bags similar to this that had the box bottom in them. I don't know if that's what you call it or not. But she had a bunch of those, and she of course is always very creative and come up with ideas of how to use them. And she decided to make some little journals. And what she did is she turned the bags inside out. And this is another one I'm going to work on. And crinkled them up first and then turned them inside out to get the print on the inside where it wouldn't show through on what she was doing. And then she painted over the paper with this chalk paint. And this is what I think she used this same one on one of hers that she did. It's called Plaster is the color. And it's by Waverly. It just came from Walmart. I'd had mine for a while, and it was open. I used it on something else, and it was very thick. And really, I didn't like the texture of it when I had painted on the paper. And I took one of the dry baby wipes and just went over it with that and got rid of some of that grittiness. I don't like that texture, so but I like it now. I like the way it looks. And you just take a brush and dry brush it on over that and let it dry. So that's what I did too. And this little sticker does not want to stick, so I'm going to put some glue on it and put it back in place. But what I did is I just basically did the same thing she did, except I folded mine in a slightly different way than how she did it. She had her flap. I can't do two things at once, talk and glue. She set hers up so the flap was on this side. I'll show you how with the one that I'm going to be making. This is the way she did hers. She had the flap here, and then this opened like a normal book would open. And she had her signature sewn in here so that it closed like that. And then this was just the closure on the book. I can't remember now why I decided that I didn't want to do it that way. And it may have just been a fluke. It may have just been, it just turned out that I put it down here and then I had to deal with it. So basically what I did is I decided that I still wanted this part, the pages, to open like a normal book would. So I decided to bind them into this, in the spine here at the flap. And what I did is I just punched some holes. I have an old, it's just my mother's old-fashioned hole punch for doing grommets or eyelets. And I just went as far as it would go from here and punched a hole there and there. And then I assembled my pages and put a clip on them and placed it and got it centered here where I wanted it. And then I just marked on here where I wanted to punch the holes and didn't go with all the way in because that wouldn't have worked with the holes that I punched there. So then I have the grommets on the outside, and then the other, where the back side of it is there. And then I just used this ribbon. Some I got at Dollar Tree quite a while ago. And I don't know if the true color of that is showing up too well in the video, but it's a pretty deep teal blue-green. And I thought that looked pretty with these colors. These pieces are scraps that I had just in a stack out on the bed. Is basically, I work in my guest room, my former guest room. And what I did is I had this piece laying on top of this piece, and I thought that really looks pretty with that. So that's how I decided to do this. And then this piece was also laying in that stack, and the colors were good. So I decided to use it on the back and on this flap. Deciding what I was going to do with the closure took me a long time to decide, because I couldn't figure out how I was going to bring something around from over here and go across the lace. And I for some reason I couldn't figure it out. Finally I decided, I remembered I had this very narrow elastic. I think it's an 1/8 of an inch wide. It's an 1/8 of an inch wide. And what I did is I measured it from I sewed the button on, and then I measured from the button to determine how long it needed to be, and I tied a knot, and I put the knot through this pocket. Let me take this open again. I brought the knot up through a hole I punched down here, and I had the knot tied in it. I slipped a paper clip, just a regular size paper clip, onto the elastic and placed it down in the bottom of this pocket horizontally this way. And then I glued this paper strip. It's this same paper. It's a little bit, it's not real heavy cardstock, but it is cardstock. And so I glued a strip of that down there to cover the seam between these two index cards that I had to cover the inside of this, and glued it down over that paper clip and the knot so that that's not going to pull out through the hole there. And then I put this little piece of paper around that to strengthen that hole and also make it look cute. I have just a sticker on there, and put some lace here. This could have come further up on here, but I wanted to show the paper and what this journal is made from, the paper bag. So I did that and put this, it's just some seam binding that I had from something, and a little piece of lace there. And then I glued, after I got this glued down, then I just glued this paper over this. I thought about making that a pocket, but since I have the pocket here, I decided that was enough pockets on that. And it was getting kind of chunky, and I was concerned about it being able to close well. So that's why I did it that way. And I think that worked out well. I was really, I don't know why I had such a mental block about making the closure, but I did. And this button is something that was in my mother's button box, and I think it's an antique button. I don't really know. I hope you can see. It's embossed with flowers, and I just think it's really pretty. And I was glad to find a use for one. She had 10 of them, so it came off of some button coat. I don't know what use it was before she salvaged it, but I'm glad she did. And then let's see what else I was gonna. This is embossed with a Tim Holtz embossing folder that has the lace pattern on it, and this was a scrap of scrapbooking paper. And then I just decorated. This is out of a Hobby Lobby packs that has different die cuts in it, and just a scrap of music page that I had splattered and aged, I guess you'd say, beforehand. I have a set of dies for numbers 1 through 0, and I decided to use some of those in here for page numbers. I didn't put page numbers on all of them because I just kind of wanted to be a little bit random. And I put some ink on the cheesecloth there to make it purple, since I have a little bit of purple in this. It's a purple stripe there. So I brought that into the inside there. And then just folded that up and inked the edges on that one. A doily that I had coffee dyed, and I decided to put the 5. I like the 5, so I decided to put the 5 on there, and it's not very obvious, which is okay with me. I just wanted it to be a little something subtle there. And I recently bought some of these antique trade cards. Trade is in advertising trade businesses, and this one is the Home Tea and Coffee Company, and I thought that was really pretty, and I like the colors. It has the blue on there too. And that's a little bit of blue there. So I thought that looked pretty in here. And I like it either way. I like it with this side there or with the picture side out. And there's another, I put a butterfly over that 6 on that one. And I haven't put anything in that pocket. I wanted to leave some room. This is just a little acetate die cut thing that I thought was cute. And put it there. A friend gave me that. And that's also out of this pack. I put a piece of eyelet, just eyelet fabric behind that tin. I bought this on vacation with my friend one time, and we went to a quilt shop, and of course it's all very expensive, and I was doing very minimal quilting at the time, and I had a lot of fabric anyway, so I just thought these were really pretty, and I decided to get this pack. I decided to use this one in this book. I just pinned it on with a straight pin there. And then on the other side of it, I decided to tie a bow, this ribbon, to cover where that pin comes through. and just put a little piece of music there that was, I had it laying here on the table, and I decided to put that there. And this piece is also part of that same paper that I have back here. Just had an extra piece there that I cut off the bottom. So I decided to put it here for a little journaling card. These little pieces are some that Rhonda sent me when I ordered a journal from her. They're just little die cuts and with pretty little, most of them have butterflies on them. I think there was one that has a rose. This one has a rose with the butterfly. And I thought that made a cute little tuck spot in the corner there, and the colors were good on that. So I used that. And this card, I made this when I was showing how to use eyeshadow. This blue back here is eyeshadow on that. And I stamped the bird there. And since the aqua and the purple is what I got going, a little bit of purple in this book, and I thought it was a good time to use that. And I added this blessed stamp down here in the corner. I like to be reminded how blessed I am, so I thought that was a good way to use that, how good God is to me. And this number doesn't signify anything, but I just wanted something on this side to kind of carry that purple around. And numbers are always fun. This card is one that I used wax and waxed. I have a video on how I did that, just with melting some wax on there and ironing it. And I stamped it with that tag stamp. So I decided that was a good chance to use it in this book with this color, the aqua and the teals. A little butterfly, that's just out of one of these stickabilities. It's not this one, but a similar pack of Hobby Lobby stickers. This is a paint chip, and it was square. It's like one of these. What's this size? So I cut it down to be more of a journal card size. And I embossed it with a floral embossing folder. It says Rose Melody there. I'm not sure those are roses, but maybe they could pass for roses in a pinch. And then I did Kathleen Mauer's technique of sanding the embossed part with some fine sandpaper to bring out the highlights in it. And this was just a scrap of paper I had that had some splatters on it. So I used that to cover up the information on the back. They have the name and the other information about it on the back of those paint chips. And I used a little scrap of music up there to add something to that. This goes here. And this just has a little scalloped label and a postage stamp there. I thought that was pretty. One I had laying around on my desk for quite a while. And this is another one of the die cuts that Rhonda had sent me. I put the number 19 on that page. And then that's just one of those stickers out of a Stickabilities pack. I used this picture. This is from Tim Holtz. It's from this pack. It's called Photo Booth. And it has these strips of pictures. There's 3 on each one of them. And I had cut one off. I think I cut the one off that I used here. I think this was on here. And I cut it off and rounded the corners on it and put it under that. And I used the other 2 pictures here. And this is a Trivial Pursuit card that it had this border on it that was gold. And I didn't like it for this journal, so I cut it off and just had the blue border left. But it still has the gold on the back. But fortunately, I can hide that in the pocket, so it's not too glaring. And put this here. And, well, I had this behind it. This is just, I did some splashing on that. It's another scrap that was laying around. And it's a Tim Holtz stencil that has the swirls on it. And I used that to add a little something extra besides this, just the splotch there. This sticker came out of a package for doing daily planners, and I thought that sweet it kind of goes with this picture. I think that's a sweet picture. And then, as I said, this was off of there, and it just plain on the back. You could write on that if you wanted to. This was out of this package, the same Hobby Lobby die cuts. I glued it on so it could be an uptuck, and it could have more than just that underneath it. It could have something larger if you wanted to put it all the way across. Or if you felt like it was not going to hold as well as you wanted it to, you could make the area a little tighter by gluing further down on it. But I thought it looked cute with her to have that butterfly, almost like she's wearing as a hat. And this could be writing space on the back of this flip up, and you could fold it down this way to have something sturdy to write on that, and then when you finish writing, you can fold it back this way. So that's pretty much everything about this little journal that I can think of. The size of it is 6 by 4.5, pretty much. And the pages are a little bit smaller than that. They're more like 4 inches for the most part. I used many scraps pieces, and actually they got started with the scraps to decorate this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the hashtag for Margaret of Seven Plazas and another lady that I can't remember her name right now. I'll put this in the description, but they're doing a month-long event called Scrap Timber 2025. There's another Scrap Timber, so they added the 2025 to make it their project or their event, and I'm going to include this in that. Since I did use quite a few scraps to make this, most of my pages, or many of these pages, were scraps that were lying around. That was, I think that was, and there's just five different pages, but it makes 20 pages in the book, which I think is a good number for a little book like this. I hope you enjoyed seeing my little book and might consider making one of your own. Be sure and check out Rhonda's tutorial on it. She did a good job of explaining how she made it and little tricks and tips to make it easier. So until next time, I will wish you a happy day and good week and good fortune, and may God bless you. And I will see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.